Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Estrada, and today I'll be presenting on a topic that has shaped global politics in recent years, U.S. aid to Ukraine. My presentation will explore how this policy affects not only international security, but also our own economy, government priorities, and role in world leadership. The issue I'm focusing on is U.S. aid to Ukraine, one of the largest foreign assistance efforts in modern history. This aid includes military, humanitarian, and economic support to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia's invasion, which began in February 2022. U.S. involvement began after Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, but it expanded dramatically following the full-scale invasion in 2022. Since then, Congress has approved over 175 billion in total aid, showing strong government action in support of Ukraine. This issue is significant because it affects democracy, global stability, and America's reputation as a world leader. While the US has to support Ukraine, delays in new funding shows the risk of political inaction, which could weaken alliances and embolden authoritarian regimes. The major stakeholders. The major stakeholders in this policy include the U.S. government, Ukraine, American taxpayers, and the U.S. defense industry along with NATO allies. For the U.S. government, agencies like Department of Defense and State Department are directly responsible for distributing and tracking aid. This aid is vital for survival both militarily and economically for Ukraine. As for American taxpayers, it represents a major financial commitment funded by public dollars. Finally, the U.S. defense industry and NATO allies are affected because they manufacture the weapons and share in the broader security mission. This policy helps by protecting democracy, deterring further aggression, and strengthening allies. However, it also can be hindered by increasing government spending and drawing funds away from domestic priorities. The total cost has reached over 175 billion, which includes humanitarian, military, and financial support. Legally, the aid is justified under the Foreign Assistance Act and National Defense Authorization Acts. In terms of efficiency, aid deliveries have been effective but sometimes criticized for lack of transparency. Economically, the policy supports more than 300,000 U.S. jobs and helps stabilize European markets, creating a complex mix of benefits and trade-offs. Know both sides. Supporters and critics of U.S. aid to Ukraine make strong arguments on both sides. Proponents believe that helping Ukraine defend itself upholds democracy and deters Russian aggression that could spread beyond its borders. According to the Congressional Research Service 2024, U.S. assistance has helped Ukraine recapture lost territory and prevent further escalation into NATO countries. Supporters also say that aid strengthens America's leadership and creates economic benefits through defense manufacturing and trade. Opponents, however, argue that the cost is too high and oversight too weak. Around 175 billion have already been wasted, leading some lawmakers and taxpayers to worry about inflation and debt. A Pew Research Center survey found that 40% of Americans think that the US gives too much aid. Critics also warned that sending advanced weapons could escalate tensions with Russia and take away focus from urgent domestic needs like healthcare and education. Both sides raised valid points. This debate continues to shape how the U.S. defines its foreign policy and budget priorities. Opinion and why I chose this topic. First, the financial burden. With over 175 billion spent, many question how much longer the U.S. can sustain this level of support. Secondly, accountability, ensuring aid reaches its intended targets and isn't lost to corruption. Third, national security. Continued support helps deter Russian expansion and protect NATO allies. Fourth, political division. Opinions on aid have become sharply split in Congress and among the public. Evidence shows U.S. aid has helped Ukraine reclaim over 50% of its occupied territories and stabilize its economy through humanitarian programs. However, polls show growing fatigue among Americans about continuing funding. I chose this topic because it reflects the balance between defending democracy abroad and managing priorities at home. It's important because the U.S. decides how it will shape not only Ukraine's future, but the stability of global order. In conclusion, U.S. aid to Ukraine is a major test of American leadership and Commitment to democracy. The key stakeholders are government, taxpayers, Ukraine citizens, NATO allies, and U.S. defense industry are all deeply affected. Supporters say that this aid protects freedom and global stability, while opponents point to high costs and limited oversight. I believe the U.S. should continue supporting Ukraine but strengthen accountability and share the burden with NATO allies. My recommendations is to increase transparency through regular audits and build a long-term peace strategy that promotes stability without endless spending.